Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the official one and only Smite Super Builds. We're back here again after a year. It's been actually a year since the last Vamana build video, so it's about time to do an update. But first, I'm going to go into Vamana's abilities for the new players out there to help understand why would you build a certain way for Vamana. Now, starting with his passive, the physical protection conversion of 20%. This is a very important aspect to Vamana. This allows you to build protection items. You can build like a tank, bruiser, whatever, and you can still have a really good amount of physical power, so your abilities can do more damage, and of course also your basic attacks can do more damage. Now, when you have this along with the Runeforged Hammer item, which pretty much does the same thing, it converts a portion of your protections into physical power, so that way you have basically a super increased passive. So that's a really good core item to have on Vamana. Next point I want to get into is the Colossal Fury. This basically allows you to gain a lot more protections, as well as that protections of course goes into more physical power, and of course at max rank you gain 100 additional physical power, so you become a huge, literally a monster once you pop your ultimate. But the thing with the Colossal Fury is that it turns your basic attacks into pretty much AoEs, so you slap your umbrella down and hit everybody around you. But to help utilize overall your ultimate, you have to be able to stick to your target. It's a very, very important aspect to get use out of your ultimate, is be able to stick to your target. Now, since the greater sprint no longer makes you immune to movement penalty while attacking, we're definitely looking for a core item called Haste Fatalis, which takes away the movement penalty when attacking, or you could go into the Frostbound Hammer, which pretty much reduces the enemy's movement speed by 30%, as well as their attack speed by 15% or so. So you definitely want to have one of those items with you. And of course, just take a quick look at our conversions. We have 15 physical power. We can see how much use we get out of that, out of our abilities, which is pretty good amount. Now cooldowns, not too much to talk about cooldowns. They're fairly mediocre. R2 goes down as far as we level up our R2, and the cooldown goes down. But if you're looking for some type of cooldown reduction, maybe go with the Mail of Renewal, which is, I think that's 15%, or you could go into the Spirit Robe, which gives you protections and also the cooldown reduction. Now, let's go into the starter item. Now, Conquest is pretty much the only game mode where you're really concerned about starter items, and for now, until this maybe gets rebalanced or something happens, the best starter item is definitely the Bluestone Pendant. You ask why? The mana is good to have, especially since you're in the solo lane more times than not, since you have the mana regen, more mana, physical power, and of course, obviously, the passive, you use your abilities like your 2 and or your 3 or whatever, and you apply a damage over time effect on the minions, and it helps clear the waves really, really fast, as well as do additional harass damage to your enemy targets. Now, if this does get nerfed or something, then you pretty much just go back to the Death's Toll, but for now, the Bluestone Pendant. Now, if you don't want to go into the starter item, you can go into an actual item. For one, you can go straight into the Runeforged Hammer. Reason why, it is very cheap and efficient, and you gain a lot of stats for the cost. I mean, it's efficient. You get really high physical protection, of course the passive, like I talked about earlier, and the HP, you can never go wrong with HP. Or you can go into the Frostbound Hammer. You can go into this as your very first item, so that way you have your sticking ability to stick to your target, and you can just beat them down with your ultimate, and you get the health and physical power. Or the little bit more common item, you can go straight into the Mystical Mail. A little pricey, but once you get it done and out of the way in the early stages of the game, it's a really great harass item to pick up. A lot of protections. The thing with the aura effect, that allows you to clear, once again, you can clear your minions a lot faster between this and your Bluestone Pendant. That's a lot of dots going across, and also more harass damage on the enemy solo laner. It does a lot of damage over time. Now, of course, don't pick this item up after your third item slot, because then the 40 magical damage becomes less and less as people get more and more magical protections as they level up. But for now, let's just go with the Bluestone Pendant. Now, boots, Warrior Tabby, we don't really need the attack speed from Ninja Tabby. We can get attack speed from Executioners and or Haste Fatalis, so no real need for that. And plus, we can get more damage off, a lot more safer with our abilities, and to help increase our damage from our abilities, obviously, is the more physical power, so Warrior Tabby. Next, From here, like the thing with warriors and Smite is you can go so many different builds for most of the warriors, and Vamana is one of them. There's plenty of builds, so let me know your build for Vamana. So from the boots, you can go straight into the Runeforge Hammer. You can go straight into that, or you can go straight into the Frostbound Hammer. Or, if you still want the Mystical Mail, this is pretty much like your last chance to pick up the Mystical Mail, is picking it up here, and now you can go ahead and pick that up, and this is what it'll look like. I mean, you have a lot of damage and protections going off. Let's just continue on from here. From here, we can go into the Runeforge Hammer. At this point, we're really tanky, a lot of HP, but from here, we do need some type of ability to stick to our targets. Like from now, we want to do some damage with our ultimate. We have more levels on us. We're tankier. We can take the hits, so we want to be on the front lines. So this is when you can go into your Haste Fatalis or Frostbound Hammer, whichever one you prefer. And then you can go into another attack speed item if you're looking to do even more damage. You can go into the Executioner. What this does allow you to is obviously more damage with your basic attacks and shred all the protections. Now, if you don't want to go into this and you want to focus a little bit more on being more of a frontliner, there are other items that you can go into, such as the Midgardian Mail. Works very, very well for if you're being targeted by enemy assassins or hunters, or even like a Freya or a magical god that relies on their basic attacks, since if they attack you, there's a chance for them to decrease their move speed and also their attack speed. So it's a really good item to go into. On the same point, if the enemy team has a lot of basic attackers that are physical, you can also combine that with the hide in the median line. So it really is up to you on what you want to go with that. So let's just go with the Executioner. Now, other optional items like flavor pickups, you can go into the Shin size if the enemy team has a lot of HP on their side. You can go into the Oboe, which is a lot of fun to play with and also to watch. You can combine this, like instead of picking up, like let's say Mystical Mail or whatever other item, instead of picking up that item, you can just go to the Oboe. And what this does is, as soon as you start, you just go into your ultimate and you do your basic attacks. You see all the arc lightning causing additional damage to your targets around you, and it also kind of helps you apply the Haste Fatalis movement penalty reduction, so you can move faster and have more basic attacks and overall cause a lot more damage. Lifesteal. The thing with lifesteal is you already have that high health regeneration in your ultimate form, so you don't necessarily need a lifesteal item. You can if you want to go into like a pure attack speed build, which I actually did that in an older video, which I put the link in the description for that. So that's pretty much that. I don't want to go too much in depth for this because honestly you can go into so many different builds for Vamana. There's no time for going into all of it. Now, going into actives, potential actives, you can go into Achilles Spear if you want to get really crazy with your ultimate. You can go into the Creep and Curse if you want to slow the enemy team down, so you can catch up to them and pick them off from there. Of course, you can always go into Salvation for Assault, always a great pick up there. Blink. I mean, honestly, these days you could put Blink on anybody, just like Blink in ulti and take them by surprise, Blink over walls, things like that. Blink is always just a cool pickup to have. But one that does really stand out for Vamana is the Shield of the Underworld, since when you go into your ultimate, you're taking all the damage, you're in the front lines, and you're looking to terrorize the enemy team, and what better active to help make you beefier than Shield of the Underworld, reflecting damage before mitigation, sorry, and then also your targets can't lifesteal off of you. So if you're boxing a hunter 1v1, something like that, they can't lifesteal off you, but you're still regeneration health, and more than likely you can secure kills with that. Purification beads might not be necessary since you're kind of tanky. You can probably take the hard CCs. If not, you can always pick this up, or you can pick up Spear Robe. That's always a great item to go into. The Shell, if you want to siege the enemy Titan or enemy Phoenix and you want to help increase protections of your allies, you can always go into that. Really quickly on the topic of if you need magical protections, more than likely you probably want to go into an item that has both, such as Spear Robe, like I mentioned before. Hide of the Urchin, it's kind of okay. I only really like this item for Assault because of the fact that you can't go back to your base and buy more protection items. If you just buy this like in the beginning stages, then you can progressively get more protections without having to purposely die and get more protections. Also on the topic of assault, of course, Stone a guy. With this and your ultimate, you have so much health regeneration. That is a very important stat to have in assault. You can go with that as well. If the enemy team has like Freya, Alquan, Kronos, magical gods that have a lot of attack speed built into them, then you can go to the Runic Shield. It's a really great item for that. Of course, shutting down healers. Go into Pestilence. If your support has Sovereignty, but they can't go into Hardward yet because they're a little behind on gold, then you can pick up Hardward Amulets. That way your team has both aura passives for that. So that's going to wrap it up for the build video today. Let me know your Vamana build if you have one, because God, there's a lot of different builds you can go for Vamana. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.